No.
Okay. Alex, what do you remember from 2 weeks ago?
I remember that we got cards read to us, and that the cards gave us like signs of things that we need to look out for. That's what I remember.
Heck yeah. What were those specific things? I'm just kidding. You don't have to remember. One,
I have
two,
it
three,
written
four.
down, but
All good. Kevin, what do you remember from 2 weeks ago?
I remember being in the woods and having to fight off. I think it was like a death bird and maybe a raven of some sort that was kind of like not an actual raven. It was more like cloth and like built, and it produced other little ravens, I think.
Yeah, you don't know what it was. None of you had ever seen anything like that before. It definitely looked like it was patched together, synthetic, if you will. Rolling the same numbers. Oh my god. New dice.
At least you're consistent.
Ikenna, what do you remember from 2 weeks ago?
I remember that we got to Sarahpool, and we were talking to weren't they kind of like gypsies? Like, I guess that's not the right way to say
I
what
mean,
they are.
that's...
But
Yeah, that's fine. They were like gypsies. That would be the closest, like, real-world adaptation, I suppose. They were called the Vistani.
yeah, Vistani.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then we were talking to them for a bit, and then we talked to the old lady, and we got our prophecies, and we figured out that we're the chosen ones, and that Strahd needs to die.
The chosen ones. Yeah. Yeah, long story short, it definitely seemed like killing Strahd, getting rid of Strahd, escaping Strahd, whatever you need to do to get out of Barovia, to then accomplish your own personal goals. Long story short, everything that you guys had planned in life, everything you were working towards is on pause right now, and nothing can be accomplished. Not nothing. A lot cannot be accomplished in the land of Barovia, which is essentially motive to get out. I just need to do odds and evens. I'm rolling the same number every time. Oh, there we go. Randy, what do you remember from 2 weeks ago, other than the tone of my voice?
I remember going invisible during combat. And then coming out of invisibility when I was bopping a bird. And then
Heck yeah.
Talking to the party about it.
Badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dunkel disappeared. He said, oh, I guess I just learned I could do that. And popped out of nowhere, midair, staff above his head, and bopped a bird. Missy, what do you remember from 2 weeks ago?
I don't remember. I didn't get to hear what everyone else said, but
That's okay.
I remember that Strahd just got his fortune read by Madame Eva, and that she thinks it has something to do with ours. And I have a really cool owl skull that I'm gonna start wearing around.
You can certainly try. Just kidding. No one said any of that. Which that is important stuff. Yeah, the Strahd got his fortune read. Madame Eva cannot share other people's fates with other people. And then you got your fortune read. I mean, the big one. Do you want to go over the fortunes again real quick? It would definitely still be fresh on your characters' minds. Missy did a great job taking notes. Let's see here. So I put little pictures of what the cards would have looked like in the game relevant information tab. And you can kind of see there. Take a look here. I can find the actual text of the readings again real quick. I wrote them down. What is the first one's the torturer, right? So the torturer, it's a scowling, bearded man, clad in leather armor, and a hood tipped with spikes. His callous gnarls hands turning the wheel of a grisly device. And that was swords. What did you write down for torture, Missy?
I wrote, in a town where all is not well, there will be a house of corruption full of still ghosts. That's where we're gonna find like information or knowledge or history.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that is going to be... This card tells of history. Knowledge of the ancient will help you better understand your enemy. A very common nickname for Strahd is the Ancient. He is ancient. He is the land, if you've heard that. But yeah, the torture town... There's a town where all is not well. There you will find a house of corruption, and within, a dark room full of still ghosts. The next card that you pulled was what?
The warrior.
Was it the Myrmidon?
Yes, the Myrmidon.
The Myrmidon, yeah. So this card tells of a powerful force for good and protection. It is a holy symbol of great hope. And the Myrmidon, it said, look for a den of wolves in the hills overlooking a mountain lake. The treasure belongs to Mother Night. The next card you pulled, I believe, was the Bishop. Where this is a card of power and strength that tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of sunlight. And that card, she read...
Beyond the amber doors.
Yes, you got it, yeah. What you seek lies in a pile of treasure beyond a set of amber doors. The next card, this card sheds light on one who will help you greatly in the battle against darkness. And I believe that was the Mists card, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Mists card, what did that one read, Missy?
Vistana wanders alone near the mists. Saint Markova's alley or Abbey?
Abbey, yep.
Okay, Abbey.
Yeah, Vistana wanders this land alone, searching for her mentor. She does not stay in one place for long. Seek her out at Saint Markovia's Abbey, near the mists. And then the last one was the Marionette. And, what did she say for that one? Let's see. Okay, your enemy is a creature of darkness whose powers are beyond mortality. When the hour of judgment arrives, this card will lead you to him. And that was the Marionette. And the Marionette read, look to great heights, find the beating heart of the castle. He waits nearby. So, all essentially, take with, you know, what you will from them. Clues, fortunes, they're definitely things to point you in a certain direction should you choose to trust Madame Eva. And from what it sounds, she's definitely not on Strahd's side, because she's warning you about him, and she sent you the dreams, and she told you to run when he was coming. So you have some things to think about. And it looked like you guys had some conversation in the fireside chat where TLDR, it kind of just, you summed up the next step that you're planning on taking, I guess, which is what?
We're gonna go to the mill, right?
Going to the mill to see
Going,
Granny.
Yes.
okay. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Oh, Granny.
So,
I thought it was Randy.
yeah, you guys all have that conversation. I read through it this morning. Good stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of things to potentially move towards. So I don't think I didn't see. Yeah, I don't think I didn't see me, Dad, in all caps. And we press on. Yeah, you guys all you all exit the tent. You're kind of like huddled in the tent, having that conversation. Madame Eva is just kind of smiling. She looks a little exhausted from the reading. She's not really eavesdropping, but she's in your presence as you whisper these things. You guys all added 500 experience points, correct, for choosing to have your fortunes read?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna do we'll do experience, but it'll be like milestone experience, so at least you can kind of see the progress happening rather than it just be like a blind surprise. Which I think is a fair trade, because I think experience for combat only is lame. Okay. Upon exiting her tent, you finally leave, and you find two other Vistani waiting outside the tent. You see the older man that had initially welcomed you into the camp. I don't know if you caught his name or not. He smiles and extends a hand and says, "Ah, so how was your reading?"
Weird. Weird.
It always is. It's certainly an experience. He's also accompanied by a younger woman. She's probably in her, let's say, early 30s. And she is dressed in Vistani garb as well, and she smiles and she says, welcome to Serpool Encampment. I trust you've traveled far?
Kinda.
Yes.
Where do you hail from?
The Great Dale! Where do you hail from?
Right here, unfortunately, in Barovia, the Great Dale. I would love to hear stories of the Great Dale someday.
Oh, no!
Should you be...
I can tell you about this grasshopper that I was chasing around a field for months.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Well, I'll tell you what, 'tis Vistani tradition to sit around the campfire and tell stories at night, should you care to join.
Sure.
She looks at the older gentleman. He says, wonderful. It's always fun to hear stories from outsiders. We've heard each other's stories for so long now. Sometimes a breath of fresh air is nice. The girl kind of... Stanimir, have we even introduced ourselves? He looks a bit sheepish and embarrassed and says, oh, terribly sorry. He extends a hand to Udunkel and says, Stanimir, at your service. And he gives like kind of a very flamboyant bow.
Uncle Avenstasher the 72nd!
Oh, what a wonderful name!
Awkwardly bow.
The woman smiles and says, hi there, my name's Eliza, and who might the rest of you be?
My name's Valerian.
Hello, it's a pleasure. My name is Warren.
Salvatore, but you may call me Sal.
I'm Hattie.
Wonderful. She says, well, now that we have names out of the way, and who's ready for a nice meal and a story around the campfire?
Starting to drool, Sal a little too eagerly steps forward and says, "That sounds lovely."
Sal, you see behind them on some logs placed strategically around the campfire, places to sit. You also see just the whole spread: wine, food. You see some of the children laughing, dancing around, and casting shadows, little animal shadows against the fire. And the food looks great. You see what looks to be like some roast hare, potatoes, vegetables. It looks like a great time. But the wine for sure is definitely catching your eye. You haven't had a good drink in quite some time.
My body is ready, and I take out my silverware and my plate, and I immediately go towards the food.
Hanamir said, "Oh, you brought your own. Okay, yeah, go for it." Sal just pulls out his china, his that he, I assume, is what you took from the mansion.
Exactly.
At the very beginning, or the death house. No one else really has silverware or plates or anything. They're all kind of just like tearing at their meat right off the bone and tossing potatoes into their mouths with their hands. But yeah, Stanimir and Eliza kind of step aside and give you room and space to sit down on some seats. Should you care to join?
Immediately.
Okay. What did you say, Sal? I heard sure, and then it sounded like you were about to say something.
Oh, I said immediately.
Oh,
Right.
Okay. Understood. Anyone else?
I'll join.
Let's eat.
I like to sit near the phone, but I'm not going to get comfortable. I'm not going to sit down or anything.
Wonderful. You can just stand there if you wish, I suppose. Here. And he hands you like a whole roast hare all for yourself. Bowl of potatoes and vegetables and your very own wineskin he tossed over to you. And does the same for the rest of you. They're treating you well. He smiles and says, oh man, I just heard the loudest noise upstairs. I wonder what happened. Oh my god. If you told me somebody had an axe up there and is chopping down my house, I'd believe you.
Huh.
But I think it's Allie stomping around. Okay. You see another young man join as well. He steps up and says, "Hello. Might I join?" Eliza gives a big grin and she says, "Sure, another traveler. The more the merrier." And she slides, and another young man comes and sits down. He looks to be in his mid-30s as well. He doesn't look Vistani. He doesn't look like he's dressed the way everyone else is. He's more wearing your traditional traveling garb. He's got some tattered and dirty clothes. He's got a cloak. He's got a traveling bag, you assume, with adventuring gear in it as well. And he smiles, gives a little nod, grabs a piece of bread and his own food as well, and takes a seat. And he leans over to you, Valerian, and he says, "Hey, the name's Arturi," and he extends a hand.
Hi, I'm Valerian, and I shake his hand.
Says, "Oh, delighted. See, I hear you're traveling as well."
Yeah, we're going to Granny's Mill.
Granny's Mill. there's an old windmill down the old Svalich Road. Granny, oh yes, I've heard of her famous pies. Have you tried one?
I have. What's the deal with those pies?
Oh, well, not quite sure. I haven't tried one myself, but people rave about them. Were they quite good?
They were good, but they gave me some weird dreams.
Oh, interesting. I wonder why that is. Good weird or bad weird?
Just weird.
Huh. Well, weird isn't bad, I guess, all the time, but weird is weird. He chuckles and takes a bite. He says, "So, where are you all traveling from?"
The Great Dale!
The Great Dale. Fascinating. And the rest of you? Are you also from the Great Dale?
We're awful curious.
Oh, well, we're sitting around a fire, sharing food and wine. What else do you talk about?
Tell you about that grasshopper.
Oh, a story about a grasshopper. Wonderful. I would love to hear that story. He's kind of interrupted as he makes that sentence. Eliza is kind of like playing with some of the children, and they all hush as Stanimir kind of stands up and gives a kind of getting everyone to pay attention to him. He smiles and says, "We are welcomed and honored by the presence of some brave adventurers around the campfire tonight. We have Arturi, Dunkel, Hattie, Sal, Valerian, Walren." Everyone kind of like gives a little clap and like a woohoo, welcome, hey, yeah, welcome. He says, "So, where is your next destination? I hear you're traveling to the windmill, is that correct? What then?"
We're gonna find the torturer. I think. Right?
Torturer?
I'm gonna elbow Dunkel and be like, shh.
Oh.
I think what my companions are trying to say is that we are gonna take things one step at a time. So
No, we don't know where we're going.
we plan to go see Granny at the windmill, and then after that we'll plot our next course. I'm sure you're well aware, as I think you guys move like that as well. Am I correct?
Oh, you are not wrong, Walren. We do tend to travel about to many different places, and this is merely just our stop for now. Well, you're welcome here at our camp overnight, and really as long as you'd like. The roads can be long and dangerous beyond the wagons here. He says, well, I trust you're enjoying the food, and as I said earlier, there's a tradition we have here in the Vistanian camps where we like to play a little game. It's called the Game of Stories. Would you like to play?
Yes.
Wonderful.
I don't really have many stories.
Okay. Well, you don't have to play if you'd like, or you can simply come up with a story while you're hearing everyone else's. It's certainly your choice. I wouldn't want to pressure you one way or the other to do something you're uncomfortable with, but it is a fun game. We play it often, especially when travelers come to town.
I'll think of a story.
Anyone else would like to play?
I shall play the game.
Wonderful.
Sure.
All eyes on Hattie.
What are you playing for?
Ah. He chuckles and stands up. He says, "A competitor. I like that." He says, "To play, each participant must put up a wager. It can be an object of small monetary value. It can be of intellectual value, sentimental value. Each participant must share a story to make a man laugh or weep. Each time a story is told, the other participants in the game must guess whether the story is truth, falsehood, or both. And at the end of the game, the participant with the most correct guesses wins the pot." So, to answer your question, Hattie, we're playing for little trinkets, little sentimental pieces of value, gold, if you will. It's up to you. He says, "Tell you what, I'll throw in my wager, and then other people can follow suit, and then you can tell me whether you want to play."
Alright.
He pulls out of his pack a deck of cards that wrapped and twined. They look old and used. A few of the cards torn and edges frayed. He says, "These cards, they once belonged to my late wife. They've sat unused and dusty in my wagon for long enough." He chuckles, but you can see the sadness behind his eyes, and he says, I think she'd like it if they were out in the world once again." And he places in the middle on a little stump they're kind of using as the pot. It's just it's an old deck of Tiraka cards. You see Eliza, she stands up, she says, "Well, I'll play. This sounds fun." She pulls out of her pack like a brass spyglass, and it collapses and comes apart. She can kind of like see her fiddling with it, and it's got like a small maneuverable mirror on it as well. And she tosses the spyglass and to the pot. She says, "Came across this with some trinkets and thought it was interesting. Maybe someone could find some use for it." Arturi has been pretty soft-spoken and polite. He stands up and you kind of see him fiddling through his pack, and he goes, "I don't know what to wager." You see him stop, and he goes, yeah. He pulls out what seems to be like a journal, and across the front of the journal you see written the word notes. He places it delicately on the wager in the pot and says, "This is it's a short manuscript. It's on werewolves. It's by a man named Dr. Rudolf van Richten. Great mind. And he steps back. Stanimir looks at all of you and says, "Well, any wagers?"
Sal walks forward, reaches into his pack, and grabs the silver candelabra that he scooped from the church, and he puts it on top. And he says, "This may have some value to anyone looking for it. Unfortunately, I feel comfortable giving it away since it's not part of a set."
Sal tosses it in the pot. Anyone else?
Oh, go ahead.
I flip one gold piece into the pot.
I do the same. That was what I was going to do.
I
Oh,
don't even. I don't even have that.
a gold piece. Well,
I've
I guess
got
I-
nothing.
I did say that gold could be wagered. Well done. You have nothing, Valerian, nothing of sentimental value or a fun story around the item? Any trinkets?
Nothing I'd like to wager.
Oh, well. You can certainly wager gold or silver or anything like that. It's supposed to be fun. And if you have nothing to wager, then by all means, we'd still welcome you to play.
I'll play. I just can't wager. So I won't win.
Give me my gold piece!
Okay, I'll take a gold piece. I'll
No, I
wager
said why not put it in the pot? If you were gonna let me tell my story anyways.
Oh, he said, why did he
Oh.
do this gold piece?
that.
Well, if you don't wager, you don't win the pot.
Oh, so I might win your notebooks.
You very well could. As I said, you can certainly play the game and tell a story, and but in order to win the pot, you must put a wager.
What if no one laughs or cries from your story?
That's neither here nor there. That was simply put, make sure the story was interesting. Nobody likes a dull, dry story, but a story that ends in laughter or tears is always a story worth telling. As I said, the rule of the game is we must guess whether the story is true, false, or both. So,
Alright.
Walrin and Dunkel, you've each placed one gold piece. Sal, you have placed one silver candelabra. Val, you can tell a story, but you are not playing unless one of your friends is kind enough to loan you something.
Offer up the second holy symbol that I took from the church.
Oh,
You don't need this?
Well, I have no use for it.
Right, I'll use it.
wonderful. Then I'm just writing them down in the Discord real quick. And then all eyes on Hattie. Well, are you playing?
I don't got anything to give.
Oh, well, that's quite all right. Would you still like to tell a story?
I guess. I don't want to. But
Oh,
I
well-
will.
By all means, you don't have to. It's just an offer. We're playing regardless. You can, by all means, be an audience.
No, it's fine. I'll play.
Wonderful.
I offer the gold piece I have for Hattie.
Wow. Hattie, Val, you certainly have some kind friends you're traveling with. It's the best kind of friends, if you ask me. Everyone's tossed something in the pot. Let's see here. If you'd like to take a few minutes, you can kind of like plan out a little story in your own mind, or however you want to do it. In the meantime, I will. Standemir will stand up, and well, he's already standing. He'll kind of go, well, it's settled. The players. He smiles and he says, well, I'll go first. Let's get it over with. He chuckles, or sorry, he like clears his throat. Find the he fills his mouth with wine, and spits it out onto the fire. The flames start dancing, and the flames start to almost act out the story as he tells it. We come from an ancient land whose name is long forgotten. A land of kings. Our enemies forced us from our homes, and now we wander the lost roads. The dark shapes in the fire, it starts to take the form of a man being knocked from his horse, a spear piercing his side, and Stanimir continues the story. One night, a wounded soldier staggered into our camp and collapsed. We nursed his terrible injury and quenched his thirst with wine. He survived. When we asked him who he was, he wouldn't say. All he wanted was to return home, but we were deep in the land of his enemies. We took him as one of our own and followed him back towards his homeland. His enemies hunted him. They said he was a prince, yet we did not give him up, even when their assassins fell upon us like wolves. Deep in the bonfire, you see the dark figure standing with sword drawn, fighting off a host of shadowy shapes. Stanimir continues, "This man of royal blood fought to protect us, and as we protected him. We bore him safely to his home, and he thanked us. He said, 'I owe you my life. Stay as long as you wish. Leave when you choose, and know that you will always be safe here.'" The figure in the dancing fire vanquishes its final foe, then disperses in a cloud of smoke and embers. Let's see here. The figure then disperses in a smoke of embers, and that's it. He stands up. Actually, make a perception check first, everybody, real quick.
18.
5 plus
22.
11. 11 for Dunkel.
Okay. I heard
Is-
three
oh,
numbers. 11 for Val.
Mhm.
Walren?
22.
22. Okay. 12 or higher. Anyone who got that. You notice that he seems to be casting some sort of spell to create the shapes and the flames. Anyone who did notice, whoever got a 12 or higher, can also make an Arcana check to see if you can kind of see what it is. It'll be a higher DC on this one.
On 19.
4.
4? Okay. Was that all who got it? Yeah, I guess it was. Walren, you notice that this is the not minor image spell. This is the major image spell. So you can tell that he's casting magic to kind of go along with the story. It's a nice party campfire trick. Once the tale is ended, he looks at you all and says, "Well, true, false, or both?"
Probably both.
Both.
Hattie says both. Dunkel says both.
I say true.
I say true.
False.
Sal says false.
Somebody's going to be right.
Or Eliza and Arturi are thinking long and hard. Eliza goes, true. Arturi votes, half true. Say both. Stanimir smiles. He says, well, that story was indeed true. It's a true tale of the Vistani people, and the wounded prince lived on as a friend to the Vistani, even when his heart was led astray by the shadows and mist. He looks off into the distance.
Who was the prince?
He looks at you curiously, thinking whether to answer. Well, that prince was Strahd von Zarevich in the days before he came to Barovia. His promise to the Vistani is why our people remain in this valley to this day without fear or favor. He simply lets us be. So who said true? So Walrin has a point. Val has a point. And Eliza has a point. Eliza stands up and... Actually, you know what? Who wants to go next?
Sure.
Stanimir smiles. He says, ooh, I hope this is the story about the squirrel.
I just like cock my head and look at him.
You did say squirrel
Yeah.
earlier, right?
Have you heard anything I've said since I've gotten here?
Guess I haven't. But I'm all ears now.
Ollie, come here! I assume Ollie, doesn't respond to me whatsoever.
You can certainly make an animal handling check, unless you'd prefer him not to respond.
Let's
Back
see what
dump him,
happens.
knock it out of the park.
Yeah, make an animal handling check.
6.
Ollie, he kind of... You hear like a... And he rolls back over and kind of pretends to be asleep.
Right! And then I go and I just, climb up on top of him.
He's just annoyed. He lets you do it, but...
And, he's my stage.
Okay.
Well, where do I begin? So I was in the Great Dale. I was standing down by Plum Creek when I saw the biggest grasshopper I'd ever seen in my life. And it just jumped in front of me. And then it jumped again. And I thought to myself, Neville Havenstasher the First is never going to believe this grasshopper. So then I went running after it. And I reached and he jumped. And I reached and he jumped. And the next thing I knew, I was in front of Fezzle Havenstasher. And I said, Fezzle, look at this. And I reached and he jumped. And he looked at me and he said, go away. And I said, not me, the grasshopper. And I reached and he jumped. And I kept chasing the grasshopper until we ran into Neville. Neville didn't say a word. I kept chasing this grasshopper until it jumped in front of Fluffle. Nothing, not a word. Then Quaffle. Then Gubble, then Vickle, then Bettle, then Double. I chased this grasshopper up and down the Great Dale, in front of Tunkle and Duggle and Stubble and Rumple, Jumble and Fuddle and Wumble and Crumble, Heaven and Fumble and Bubble, until finally I reached my father, Uncle Havenstash of the 71st.
Stanimir, like, very obviously waiting for a punchline, just gives like, and everyone kind of like politely goes along with the clapping, but it's very very out of pity. He goes, Uncle, wow. That story must really bring a campfire together at night if you've told it before. He says, Uncle, you seem like the most honest man I've ever met. I'm gonna say true. Eliza and Arturi also are like, yeah, we'll say true. Anyone else have a guess?
Also guess
I'm gonna say
true.
both.
I'm gonna say true.
I think I'm
Sure.
gonna go with both.
Okay. Well, Dunkel, what's the verdict?
You're an idiot. Neville never saw it. Everyone else did.
Yes.
Stanimir buries his head in his hands, rubbing his temple and says, yeah. Wow, you truly are a master storyteller, Dunkel. No points for anyone.
What?
Isn't both
Well,
true
would that be
and false?
would that be both? I guess it would be both.
Yeah.
I saw it. Like,
Yeah. Who said both?
Me and Sal.
Okay. Let's put the story here. So, Walren is at 2. And the Sal, you have a point now. Eliza stands up. Oh, my turn. She smiles. It is said that within each raven flutters a lost soul, and that each raven's song tells a tale of ages past. They whisper, so listen closely. She takes a deep breath, and when she speaks again, her voice is quiet, with an eerie, melodic quality to it. Sing, ravens of Barovia, birthed from the mist and bathed in twilight. Sing of Lugdana, the morning lord stalwart, dawn-touched foe to the deep-lurking dark, the holy symbol of ravenkind, her radiant testament, the warrior's beacon of faithful resolve. Sing, ravens of Chernavog's rise, named Green God and Demon Lord upon Yester Hill. Lugdana, gray-haired, weary of battle, her long sword and shield, yet polished and ready. Guided through shadows, towards sacred ground, she clashed with the demon, their tempest-like dance. Sing, ravens of Lugdana's last fury, of Ravenkind's token now blazing with light. The battle's tide turning, a hero's brave cry, a final onslaught with divinity's grace. The demon lord banished, the warrior now fell, the wound at her side gouged too deep to bear. Sing, ravens of light's final moments, A shadow descending from radiance on high. Sing of the angel, black-feathered and beaked. The morning lord's angel reclaiming its gift. The symbol retaken, in raven's claws held. Sing, ravens. You are the keepers, the watchers, the tellers of stories untold. Sing, ravens of Lugdana's memory, the shadows that lurk, and heroes to come. She gives like a polite little like cute curtsy at the end of it, and everyone's clapping. Stanimir smiles, says, "Always a pleasure, Eliza. Always a pleasure." And he thinks,
Really wanted the stage, huh?
She smiles. She says, "Well, I do like telling stories." Her tale is ended. What do you think? True, false, or both?
Of
False.
I'll toss out a true.
I too am gonna go with true.
Stanimir says, say true too. And Arturi says, that one's gotta be false. There's no way. Eliza reveals, well, this one was half true. Lugdana was indeed a paladin of the Morning Lord, who bore the legendary holy symbol of Ravenkind. According to legend, the symbol was given to Lugdana by an angel in the guise of a raven. Eliza chuckles. However, no one knows what happened to the symbol after Lugdana fell at Yester Hill. Nor does anyone know where that holy symbol resides today. So,
Yester Hill.
Yester Hill? Pause.
Wonderful weather we're having.
What did
Literally.
you say?
I said wonderful weather we're having.
It's actually. Can you put on like the background music, Kenna?
Oh. Yeah, give me a sec.
Yester Hill is an old battle site. It's obviously a hill. It's on the very edge of Strahd's domain. It, first and foremost, is a graveyard. All ancient graves lie there of the fallen. It is said, though, however, Yester Hill is also a shrine to, well, what was it? Some sort of worshipped deity. I don't quite know, actually, but it is said there is a shrine there. So who said both?
Me.
Dunkel. And Hattie.
All right, so Dunkel gets a point, and Hattie gets a point.
I'm sorry, did she just say the town that Yesterhill was in? Like where it was?
It's not in a town. It's like a landmark. She said on like the edge of Strahd's domain.
Okay.
But not what edge?
She didn't say.
Is it this way?
One moment. She says, I don't know, Dunkel. Let me think. While Taylor looks up the direction real quick. Because who knows, maybe she'd know. And I'll roll a little history check for her real quick to see if she knows.
Now one.
We'll find out. She knows the general direction. They hide the map, though. Let me see. Where was the map? Here he is.
Do you think Dunkel pointed north on a side note?
Yeah, which way did you point?
East.
East. She says, well, quite the opposite direction. It would be very, very far west of here. I do believe... Let me think here. Yes, it was... From my memory, it was past the Raven River crossroads.
The Raven River Crossroads.
Yeah, past that.
Thanks.
Of course. Who's next? Well, don't everybody speak at once. Oh, everyone's like, no, that's fine. It's okay. We're okay. We have plenty of other contestants to play.
Mhm.
Unless you're scared and you're backing out now and...
I guess I can tell the next one.
Perfect. We're all ears. A hush falls over the crowd.
So this is a story about just not to give him a name, but it's about a half-elf boy, and he grew up in a village full of humans, and those humans never quite understood him, and so they made fun of him most of the time for his pointy ears and his different stature. He wasn't like the rest of them, and he was taught by his father, who was an elf, that was perfectly fine. But he was kind of conditioned by the humans to think that there was something wrong with him. So then there was a fateful day where he was out hunting with his father, and when he returned to the village, he found that it was burnt to the ground and ravaged by orcs. And when he went to go find his human mother, he and his father found her remains. And so now the half-elf from the human village was taken by his father to the elven village. And the boy thought that this would be the best thing for him, but he also didn't fit in there because he was not one of them. He grew up in a human village. So the elven people also looked at him as an outcast. But remembering the loss of his mother, as well as the perseverance of his father to bring him here, kept him on the right path, and he eventually found solace in his own religion, as well as his studies. And he was able to come back from all that and become somebody that people can rely on. So yeah, and you see one single tear fall down Walren's face. And the story's done.
Another tear falls down Dunkel's face, and he says, "That reminds me of a deer from the Great Dale that had a different colored nose."
That's lovely, Dunkel.
Everyone
I mean, it's obviously true.
claps. Yeah, Banamir says, that was quite some tale. Either you're a very good liar, or you wear your emotions on your sleeve. Walren, I would say true. Eliza says, half true. Arturia says, true. Must be true.
I say
That's the
true.
truest shit I've ever heard.
I shall take the option of both.
Well, Walren.
What about Hattie?
Oh, Patty, sorry.
That was a true story.
True story. Oops. We add all the stuff here. It says, well, that's a heartbreaking tale, Walren, but it seems you're really doing it now, though. You're a great man, it seems you've become, and I see nothing but the best for you in your future.
I didn't say it was me. It's unnamed. The guy was unnamed. The child was unnamed.
Banamir pats you on the shoulder. He says, it's all right. Val, did you say true?
Yes.
Eliza said that it was both, so she does not get a point. Sal, what did you say?
I said both.
Both. Uncle, what did you say?
I said true.
True. Patty, what'd you say?
I said true.
Okay.
Evan, what part did you think was the lie?
Yeah, the part where my mother died.
Fire?
Wait. Genuine question, real fast. Are you asking me as a player or me as a person?
He was a person, and I'm
okay.
expecting you to say admittedly.
I would like to answer this question after the game.
Okay. Like after the campaign, like in a couple
Wow.
years?
Yeah, holy cow. I thought that too.
No, after the story game.
Got it.
Arturi stands up and says, well, I'll go.
Before the story, do you mind if I run to the restroom?
Oh, of course.
Perfect. 5 minutes later.
You! Just turn around!
Yeah, you see Sal dip out and go find a tree to piss on.
I haven't done that in a while.
I pick a nice
Mid-teen
nice-
grass break.
lilac bush that's
Oh.
about 20 feet away from camp.
Wow.
It's
Everyone
nice
sits-
protection and it smells good.
Everyone sits there quietly, twiddling their thumbs and waiting.
Here, what does it sound like?
Can you pour water out of a bottle?
Yeah.
Thank
Can
you.
you hear a picture of a cup?
No, you can just hear me whistling. Because I like Sal's absolutely just like comfortable in his skin right now, and is just living his life. So he's making as much noise as he can as a human, and therefore you don't hear the.
Wow.
Singing a song.
Yep, straight up, just da 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 da. So and then
Sal returns after
Hear the
what
whistle.
seems like hours.
oh, I'm sorry about that. Please continue with your story.
Chuckles and he says, quite alright, quite alright. He shares the following tale. There once was a silver fox, renowned among all for his curative touch. On a cold, moonlit night, however, a rustle of wings disturbed his peaceful reprieve. A flock of sparrows brought him one of their own, the tendrils of death clutching its small, shivering body. The silver fox took the sickly sparrow into his den, but with all his wisdom and skill he could not cure its ailment, and it breathed its last in his paws. Fearing the sparrow's anger, the fox begged them to take anything in exchange for peace. The sparrows, hearts filled with grief, departed into the moonlit night. It was only at dawn that the fox realized what they had taken. His beloved kit had vanished, taken by the sparrow's claws. The fox pursued the sparrows through the barren lands and shadowed woods. He found them slumbering amidst the branches of a gnarled tree, and, in his cleverness, snatched two of the flock in the jaws of his teeth. "Where's my kit?" the silver fox roared. The sparrows, now prey in his claws, shared the terrible truth. They had given his kit to the kingdom of night, where the cursed sovereign of dusk dwelled in the darkness. And so, the fox passed from light into dark, his legs aching and sore, his paws bramble-pricked and bloody. It was in the keep of Dusk's sovereign that he found his lost cord, and uncovered his kit's dreadful fate. His kit now shared the sovereign's curse. The features of life now twisted and warped, his once lively eyes now deadened and cold. The kit begged for reprieve, for his father to free him from his cursed existence. And the silver fox, with a heart heavier than the mountains, with eyes stinging with tears, did the unthinkable, and ended his kit's torment. As the fox's anguished howl shattered the night, so too did his heart. A father had entered the kingdom that day, but it was a phantom, born of anguish and rage, that vanished into the shrouded night. So, I ask you, true, false, or both?
It's false.
True.
Both.
False.
Surely it's false.
Stanimir says he looks and squints and stares into Arturi's eyes, trying to get a read. True. Eliza, it's gotta be false. Arturi reveals that his story was true. So, who said true?
Me.
Who was me? Who said me?
Kiana.
Oh, okay.
Walrin.
Walrin. Anyone else say true? Okay, so just Walrin and Stanimir. Walrin's in the lead.
Why would a fox save a sparrow?
It's so ridiculous it has to be true.
It'd be like me saving a bunch of cranberries or walnuts.
Well, the fox didn't save the sparrow. The fox tried to save a sparrow unsuccessfully, and as a result, the sparrows took his kit, which is like a baby fox, his child.
Sure.
And then the fox went on a quest to find that child and found that the sparrows had traded him to the kingdom of night, in which he found his kit, his child eventually, but he was cursed and his features of life were twisted and warped, and so he begged for his father to kill him, basically, in which he did.
All stemming from a fox trying to save a sparrow.
Well, some
Peculiar.
stories... Go ahead.
I just said peculiar.
Oh, yeah. Arturi politely smiles. You see a sad smile, actually, and he says, "Some stories are not mine to tell, and that's all I'll say." Who's next?
I'll go next.
Everyone leans in and smiles and is all ears.
So, once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a small house on a hill. She had two very alive parents. They taught her everything she needs to know, and she grew up to be successful and powerful. She never questioned her own identity or who she is or where she came from, and she lived happily ever after.
Everyone just like,
That sounds like 1990.
Also sounds like what the Nile sounds like.
what's 1990, Dunkel?
Ew.
Stanimir says, "Well, short, sweet, to the point. I like it. I'll say true." Eliza says, "Half true." Arturi says false.
False.
I will say both.
False.
Well, what's the answer?
Did Dunkel answer?
Yeah, I said true.
You said true? Okay. I didn't catch that. False.
False. Arturi said false. Who else said false? Walren said false.
And
I
Hattie.
And Hattie. Okay. Dang, are you batting 1,000% right now?
Just playing out of my mind.
Locked in.
Jordan flu game. I'm going
Cook.
crazy.
Jordan flu game. All right. Who wants to go next?
Sal steps forward and says, "I'd be happy to go next."
Go for it.
Many years ago, there was a simple town in the land of Barovia that had many a family, close-knit. Not too many people, but enough to be protected from most of the challenges that Barovia face. And these families were looking forward to the generations to come until one terrible evening. Full moon, many stars in the night sky, when suddenly the enemy attacked. They attacked from within. Over many years, they had been infiltrated, and a shapeshifter had come and slaughtered them. As the night progressed and the numbers grew, noises were starting to occur. some people didn't die immediately. And the final family of this tribe of people were awakened prior to the arrival of the shapeshifter. But it was too late still. The final family had 2 children get pushed to the back of the tent as the mother fought for her dear life against this shapeshifter. Slaughtered. She stood no chance. And as the father ran towards this shapeshifter, he shaped into this poor man's very recently deceased wife. And he couldn't, and died to his hand. The shapeshifter comes down to the children here, and he looks them, and he raises his hand, and the sister, the youngest of the children, she gets hit. And as the shapeshifter's hand digs into this poor little girl, the tent immediately becomes loud and starts falling down, and a man scoops up this young boy and runs into the night. They escape. They escape the fate of this poor tribe. But to this day, it's rumored that the little boy had grown up and is now looking for honor, glory, but most of all, love and a new family. Somewhere to call home, since his had been taken from him. And it's rumored that occasionally when the full moon is out and the stars are bright, he can still hear his sister crying in the night. And you all hear very softly, "Please, oh." And Sal bows.
Everyone claps. Sal,
In real life.
a master storyteller. Truly. One to rival Dunkel himself. And
Grasshopper might have taken it, let's be honest.
That's believable, but I'll still say true.
I think that's true.
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 Stanimir says false. Eliza says false. Arturi says half true.
Sal this whole time has remained bowed, as you all guessed. And as he pulls himself back upwards, he has a sly grin on his face. And it says, "To my friends of the night, 'tis a true story."
Let's go.
So who all said true?
Everybody.
Everybody except the NPCs? All right. Well, Patty.
No good at storytelling.
Then let me pour a drink.
Going without you. Oh wait. Oh.
If you need help, there's that cool story about the shopkeeper.
Patty, you can hear a pin drop as everyone's just staring at you. Other than Warren's comment about the shopkeeper.
I'm just waiting for Randy. Like.
I know.
Yeah, I've got like 15 directions and no idea what decision I'm gonna go with still. I should roll a dice.
You could always roll a dice. Randy, what are you drinking?
Right now, Buffalo Trace, unfortunately.
Uh-oh. You had a bad day?
Have a bad day.
I'm trying to not drink a ton of beer and feel crappy in the morning, so I'm just having
Right.
like a couple drinks that I'm like splitting with like seltzer water.
Blackberry lemonade.
Yeah.
Really doing it, man.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Alright, let's get this over with. Mary was a misunderstood little girl from a young age. That she got angry at the silliest things, from the color of her hair to the size of the moon. Every morning her mom would say, "Girl, be thankful that the sun is shining and your heart is beating." So she woke up trying with all her might to stay positive, but she always wound up getting mad about something. And every night she went to bed disappointed in herself, and every dream she had was a nightmare. And every nightmare was a terrible memory of a past life where she died. Every morning was the same, and every day was the same, and every dream was a nightmare. They still expected her to smile and be happy, and she never could. So one day she snapped, and she could never go back.
That's false! Her name wasn't Mary!
An intriguing tale.
I think both!
Arturi sticks with his typical answer of both. However, both Stanimir and Eliza are gonna say false.
I say both.
I shall say true.
What's the both criteria? Like, if it's just a
Some
false name?
aspect has to be incorrect.
Okay, then it's both.
Ah, Arturi gets a point. Anyone else say both?
Yes.
Dunkel
I did.
and Val?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all the storytellers. It looks like Walren is our winner, Stanimir says. Everyone starts hooting and hollering and clapping and cheering. Wonderful stories told by all. It's quite truly my favorite game to play when adventurers come from out of town and we can hear tales with different stories, different cadence, different deliveries. It's my favorite. Here, you truly deserve all these winnings. And Walren, you get 3 gold pieces. Well, one of them back that you wagered. One from Hattie, one from Dunkel. You get the silver candelabra. You get the holy symbol of the Morning Lord. And you also get the items that Stanimir, Arturi, and Eliza put up. So you get the deck of Taraka cards, which you can add to your inventory or your notes or whatever. You get the brass spyglass with a mirror that you can add as well. You can like kind of maneuver the mirror, allowing you to kind of peer around corners. It's one of those kind of mirrors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Arturi's manuscript on werewolves that was authored by Dr. Rudolf van Richten. And it is about werewolves.
Congratulations, Walren.
Thanks.
It's in the chat.
Oh, yes.
Walren, I noticed that you had a book about werewolves. Would you maybe mind if I see that real fast?
Sure. Do you mind if I skim through it first?
Absolutely.
Do I have to do a check to like skim through the book and see if there's anything like?
You can,
Yes.
or if you'd like, I can read it out loud to you.
Sure.
Or I can send you the text and you can read it. It's up to you.
You can read it aloud.
Second here. Just writing down the items real quick. Okay. Find it here. Oy, oy, oy. Alright, the manuscript, it's about, you open it up, a lot of blank pages in the journal, but 2 pages are filled out in its entirety. And you, like I said, the front of it said notes, you flip it open, and at the top it's titled, on the first page, A Study of the Werewolf's Curse. And I will, tell you what, I will put it in game relevant information, and then I will read out loud so you can read along with me if you'd like. Just make sure there's nothing on here that is a spoiler. Okay.
Strahd dies at the end.
I just want to make sure. Well, I just want to make sure I didn't accidentally screenshot something silly. So it says, werewolves are among the most fearsome lycanthropes, bearing a curse as ancient as it is terrifying. For them, the affliction of lycanthropy transforms even the most civilized individual into a monstrous beast, warping the lines betwixt man and nature. In its humanoid form, a werewolf retains many of the characteristics of its original identity, save for certain nuances such as heightened senses, an explosive temper, and an odd preference for rare meats. Over time, subtle features that hint at their animalistic nature begins to manifest. Nevertheless, it is in their wolf and hybrid forms that the true horror of the curse is revealed. The werewolf's hybrid form is particularly terrifying, with a muscular humanoid body crowned by the head of a ravenous wolf. It is capable of wielding weapons, though its favorite means of attack are its devastating claws and powerful bite. Werewolves typically abandon civilization soon after their transformation. Those who reject the curse flee in fear of harming their loved ones, whereas those who accept it fear exposure and the repercussions of their violent deeds. Out in the wild, they form packs, living in cohesion with ordinary wolves and direwolves alike. The most tragic aspect of lycanthropy is its transmission. A humanoid can contract this curse through a wound inflicted by a lycanthrope, or through inheritance if one or both of its parents are lycanthropes. The cursed have 2 paths. They may resist the beast within, or embrace it. Those who resist bear unending strain until the rising full moon triggers a compulsory and horrific transformation. These individuals often experience bloody, haunting dreams, echoes of the carnage wrought in their madness. Some twisted souls, however, choose to accept their beastly nature. With time, they can master their abilities, calling upon the wolf's resilience and strength as they will. To do so, however, they must first perform a gruesome act: to murder another and consume their flesh. One sure way to identify an afflicted individual is the presence of a perpetually raw, bloody wound, the scar of the initial curse transmission. This wound will never fully heal until the curse is lifted. Beyond this mark, however, these creatures bear an extraordinary resilience. Conventional methods of harm prove ineffective in permanently subduing a werewolf. Only through the bite of silver or the chill of death's power can a werewolf be truly put to rest. A spell of removal can also cure an afflicted lycanthrope, though those who accept the beast may fight it bitterly. As for those unfortunate souls born under this curse, they are doomed to bear their affliction for life. As far as my research has shown, there exists no cure, no respite for such individuals. They are caught in an eternal struggle, forever haunted by the wolf within. And that is the manuscript.
Okay. I close it up after reading that, and I hand it over to Sal, and I just say, wow. I mean, when it comes to werewolves, this is shocking, to say the least. but I believe this is definitely more up your alley than mine. And I hand him the manuscript. And then I turn to Arturi, and I just go, how much experience have you had with werewolves?
With werewolves? Not much, fortunately. I've heard of some packs roaming around, but thankfully, never come eye to eye with one. How about you? Any lycanthropes wandering about these parts?
I know of.
Make a deception check.
It's going to be a 6.
Smiles and says, As I said earlier, some stories aren't ours to tell, are they? And he stands up and, well, on that note, it's getting late. Better turn in for the night. Suspect you'll all do the same soon. He starts to wander off towards his tent.
You said that was Stanimir?
That was Arturi.
Arturi.
I walk with Arturi.
Oh, well, hi, Dunkel. How can I help?
I'm sorry, did I cut you off, Kevin?
No, you're good.
What do you mean not all stories are yours to tell?
Oh, well. Seemed that Walrin wasn't quite being entirely faithful to his word when he told me that story. It's just an inkling, but that's all. Just simply letting him be. Letting him, if he cares to share the story, he can. If he doesn't, it's not on me to press for that. I respect it.
Would you tell me if you're a werewolf?
Would I tell you if I was a werewolf? Well,
You have to tell me
certainly.
if I am.
So I'd certainly tell you if I was a werewolf, but certainly not one. I don't think a werewolf would be able to wander in the company of these folk without being a dead giveaway.
What's the condition of the moon right now? I look up.
He curiously looks up as well. He's like, I'm not quite sure either. Huh. Let's see. Randy, will you roll me a d6? And we'll figure out the position of the moon based on your roll.
A 6.
It's a full moon.
I inspect Arturi.
You can make a perception check on him if you'd like, if you're just kind of looking him up and down.
21.
What are you looking for? He looks. Well, tell me. What are you looking to see if you can give any dead giveaway that I assume you're trying to figure out if he's a werewolf?
I'm looking for like standing up hair. Like,
Yeah, we don't have to beat around the bush. You don't see any dead giveaway based off of. Actually, you wouldn't have heard that manuscript, but you don't see anything that looks werewolfish on him. Anything that looks like wolf-like nature.
Wow, it's a full moon. You think we have anything to worry about tonight?
Well, let's. Based off Walren's response, I sure hope not.
Let's just go to bed, everyone.
Alright. Thanks. Have a good night. I hope you like my story.
Dunkel, your story. was incredible.
I look him in the eyes. I say, I've never been told that before.
He says, well, as I said earlier, not everyone's story is to tell, but I think there are many stories that should be told, and I think you have many stories to tell, Dunkel, and you should never stop sharing them.
This is my story to tell. I was there.
Exactly. As I said, never stop sharing.
Great. Do you know anyone else that needs to hear it?
He chuckles. I can't say that I do right now, but I'm sure you'll come across others in your travels.
All right. Have a good night.
You as well, Dunkel. And he goes into his tent and shuts it and heads to bed.
Party.
Well, got a lot of RP in. It's 10, 11. Should we wrap it up and wish Randy good luck on SWAT? Cool.
Great.
Let's do it. Good stories, everyone.
You better get straight A's, Randy.
Tomorrow's a range, so I have to shoot for 10 hours straight. So